The group chat is back every Monday. We are going to be here looking back at the weekend and looking forward to what lies ahead. And we've got the band back together again. We've got David May, we've got Wes Brown, we've got Ben Thornley, and we've got Danny Webber. Boys, great to see you. Group chat is back in its kind of original-ish format. How are you?
Oh, good.
Good,
Good, mate.
Good to be back. The boys are back.
The boys are back. It's a relief, actually, that you're not having your hair cut today or you're not in a bath. I mean, it's a relief that you're taking it seriously this week.
Shoot, if it helps, I'm getting an egg butty in a minute. So I've not had an egg butty yet.
All right, okay. Well, all right, the rest of you boys, have you been getting on? Decent weekend?
Yeah, it was all right, to be fair.
Yeah.
The game was okay, but yeah, other than not bad, mate. Not bad. Bit of Amazon Christmas shopping. Nearly sorted.
Are we sorted? Ben, are you sorted? I know what a generous man you are. Are you sorted for Christmas?
No, I'm not. I was actually, my missus had took a day off today and then I had to tell her that we were doing this at 1 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock. So it's cut it down by half. We'll have to do a little bit this afternoon.
Wait, Maisie, what about you? You've been busy?
I'm still waiting to get. I think I'm getting my treat tomorrow, Stu.
Go on then.
That's it. That's it.
Is that a bit late? Is that not a bit late? No.
12 days before, isn't it?
Maybe. Some of us are more organised. Some of us are more organised than that. But anyway, listen. First thing we're going to talk about is the Europa League draw, which arguably is about as hard as it could possibly have been for Manchester United. The current leaders of La Liga, Real Sociedad. That's who we're going to face. Away in San Sebastian first on the 18th of February. Back at Old Trafford on the 25th. Adnan Januzaj, of course, now at Real Sociedad. David Silva there as well. Tough draw. Maisie, first of all, that's about as tough as it could get, isn't it?
Probably, yeah. Top of La Liga, flying at the moment. I mean, I know they drew at the weekend, but it's going to be a tough. Listen, Stu, anywhere you go, I think it's tough. But yeah, I don't think you could get much tougher than what we've got. But hopefully we'll have some good form going into that after the Christmas period, January, going into February. Be in good form, flying up the Premier League as well. And no reason why we can't go there and get a result, bring it back to Old Trafford, Stu.
Yeah, I mean, we played them, I think, in David Moyes' season at United. We played them in the Champions League. Very good team, 7 wins, 5 draws and 1 defeat is how it looks at the moment for them. Ben, I mean, I was in contact with you as the draw was being made, and I think your heart sank when United were pulled out to face Real Sociedad.
I think when you look at, obviously, because it's a wider draw than the Champions League, so the opposition that you could get can stretch a little bit far and wide. So you can look at it in 2 ways, that you're not going to somewhere like the Ukraine or Russia and the red tape, the Eastern Bloc countries that always seem to throw something up, requiring a lot of travelling, especially seeing as though it's Thursday midweek, it's close to the weekend. Well, then the flip side to it is that you've drawn, obviously, one of the informed teams in Europe that are leading the way in a league that we all know is littered with fantastic sides: Real Madrid, Atletico, Barcelona. So, yeah, they are a little bit of a surprise package this year, I think. But nobody can argue with the record so far that it's going to be a really, really tough tie. There's no question about that.
Where's it? As Adnan Januzaj almost got a point to prove at United. He was such a bright young talent, had an amazing start to his United career, and for whatever reason, it didn't quite happen for him. But now he's obviously doing well at Real Sociedad. So has Adnan almost got a point to prove here?
Yeah, I mean, he want to play well. I think any player, former Man United player, always wants to play well against their old team. They started off well, and him and David Silva will want to play well. And it's one of them. I mean, I think they took good advantage of Barcelona and Real Madrid's really poor start to the season. But you do have to say it's a tough draw for us. But Adnan will want to show his maturity now, I think. Obviously going there, top of the league. And he'll want to do well against us, definitely.
Dan, how are you looking at the Europa League? Are you thinking, Thursdays, can't believe we're playing Thursdays again? Or are you looking at it thinking, well, We can win this one. We can win this competition.
I think if I'm being totally honest, initially I was like, oh, here we go, Europa League Thursdays, because we worked so hard to get back in the Champions League. But then you quickly got to just go, right, okay, well, focus. You got another competition you can win. There's some decent sides in it. So, you know what, let's go and win it. It's not like we're out of European competition altogether. So for us, it's another way of, again, looking at Champions League football. So if we go and win it, we're guaranteed it, although we'd like to think that in the league we'd secure it. So no, there's lots of positives to take from it, but of course it's a disappointment when you get knocked out of the Champions League in the first place.
Yeah, Maisie, what do you think of the Thursday situation, Maisie? It's for whatever reason it does have a bit of an impact, even though Wednesday to Saturday is no different as it Thursday to Sunday. But for whatever reason, playing Thursday night does seem to have an impact, doesn't it?
Enjoying that, Wes?
What's your fingers, Wes?
What is it?
But then nearly come to my kitchen then.
Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, okay.
His fingers.
Wes, I nearly leant forward and bit the other half.
You've had enough, you tiny.
I saw Ben was wiping his mouth like that, or dribbling.
You know what, Stu? I think Thursday football, I just hope, to give everybody a decent chance, I just hope the Premier League look after the fixtures and help that way. You know, you don't want a Thursday and then 5 o'clock kickoff or midday kickoff on a Saturday, something like that. You know what the Premier League are like? They do it in the when we're in the Champions League. Depending where we are, I think, in the Premier League, if we have half an ounce of winning the Premier League, might sound a little bit strange, but I'd let it go and concentrate on the Premier League.
That's really interesting. Yeah, that's really interesting. Would you go as far as that, boys, to basically say, don't worry about it if we're in the mix for the Premier League?
I would. Sorry, boys. I'm with Maisie completely. I think. Yeah, I mean, we all know it's a great competition. But for me, listen, the league is there to be won this year. I think. I don't think anyone's bossing it. No one's really showing complete domination. We're there or thereabouts, and I think we've been doing well in the league. So, you know, if you can see the Europa start sort of hampering with it a little bit, where, you know, like you can see the lads are tired, and the injuries are starting to come in. You've got to sort of, I think, put it to one side and concentrate more on the Premier League. Obviously, you still want to do well. You never go out to lose a game. But I think, you know, if Ollie did change the team and made it a weaker side for them European games, I wouldn't have a problem with that at all.
Stu, who's the games after those two games?
Well, Maisie, it's Newcastle at home after the first leg, but after the second leg, which is the Old Trafford leg, it would be Chelsea away. Obviously, we don't have the full date for that yet, but Chelsea away could be huge, Maisie, couldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. As I said, Stu, and to the lads as well, you know, if we're in the mix and we're, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 points off the top, and Stamford Bridge is a huge game for us, depending on how the first leg goes, would you want to really put out a strong team and sort of like have a you know, Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening kickoff against Chelsea down there? I don't think you would. It's not ideal. So I don't know. We have to be in the mix, old Stu. If we're not in the mix, then all out to win it.
Boys, let's talk about being in the mix and let's talk about the Premier League weekend. Obviously, United 0-0 against City. Have you woken up from that yet, Ben?
Yeah, it was well. If you compare it, Stu, to the game that we did the day after yesterday, when the under-23s played, and we saw a red card before we saw a yellow card, and that was only because the referee up to that point was being fairly lenient with the red card. I don't think he had much choice, and that was something that for me was completely missing from that Manchester derby that we saw on Saturday. There were 2 yellow cards in the whole game, which didn't result until about the 70th or 75th minute when Maguire was booked, and then Fernandinho for a collection of fouls, I think. It seemed to me as though two teams that were more worried about not losing the game than actually going and winning it. Defensively, I thought United were pretty sound, but similarly, I thought Manchester City were really poor when they got into the final third with the amount of possession that they had, especially in the second half. But if you do take some of the positives out of it, yes, from the lesson that we had in midweek against Leipzig, where we conceded twice in the opening 20 minutes. We've kept a very, very good side with some obviously talented players and a team that scores a lot of goals quiet. And I thought in Luke Shaw, we had the outstanding performer on the field. But all in all, I thought it was a really poor spectacle for a Manchester derby.
Our defending, though, was ripped apart by the critics in midweek, particularly, obviously, with what happened in Leipzig. Guys, did we at least see a bit of character in the way that we did defended properly in this game? Wes?
Yeah, rightly so in midweek, Stu. You know, when you're in that sort of position, needing a point to go through and you're letting 2 early goals, it's not acceptable for this stage of the season. And that was rightly so. But I thought the lads, we got together and they all stepped up. We know the sort of, attacking style City come with and the way they pass the ball around, try and get you on one-on-one positions in the wide areas for Mahrez and Sterling to try and obviously take people on one-on-one. But Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka defended perfect in them positions and didn't really give him much to it. Obviously, with times when De Bruyne got the ball, obviously the first chance where he's played the ball through to Mahrez to one-on-one with David. But other than that, you know, they handled it very well. And you're talking about really good players. So you've got to give him credit for stepping up. But now it's about, can they continue doing that?
I know I'm going to sound like a bit of a dinosaur here, but did any of you think, wouldn't it be nice if somebody put in a tackle in that game? Maisie?
Absolutely, yeah. I also think, Stu, as well, when you're playing a derby, you want the crowd there.
Yeah.
You know, you want that build-up throughout the week, the atmosphere. And it is a bit of a damp squib, you know, not having no fans there, particularly for a derby. But as the lads have said, you know, defended well. But listen, after the results of the weekend, it's not really a bad result to draw. You know, Liverpool drawing, Spurs drawing, Arsenal getting beat. It's not too bad. So Chelsea getting beat as well. So it's not too bad. You look at it as a point gained, and you crack on and you go on the next 3 or 4 games, which are all definitely winnable, absolutely winnable, Stu.
Well, on that point, lads, I mean the incredible scrutiny that Ollie is under after every game. Yet you look at the table, and United are 5 points off the top with a game in hand. They'd go above Chelsea if they won their game in hand. They're already above City, and yet Ollie seems to get an extraordinary amount of scrutiny. What's all that about? Why do other managers, Lampard or Arteta, not get that, or even Pep? What's all that about?
It's not Man United.
In a nutshell, yeah, I think that's it. You're right, Maisie. I think United, the scrutiny is always more. There's always more eyes, more people waiting to stick a knife in or whatever it may be, and that's the reality of the football club. It's never been any different. So when there's a chance to knock somebody, whether it's the manager or any of the players, then people fill the boots. I think if as you say, position in the league is good. All things considered, the consistency, we could get better. We're out of the Champions League. That's been a chance for people to stick the boot in. But again, no, Ollie's had runs where he's gone 10, 11 games and been fantastic. And the people aren't singing from the rooftops about him then. So if it was even, you'd kind of be all right with it. But it's not, and it's Man United. You just accept it and have to realise that that's what you're dealing with.
Imagine the melt.
I agree with Danny.
No, I'm just saying. Imagine the meltdown if we was Arsenal.
Well, lads, let's be honest. Did you think we were going to win the Champions League? Because I didn't.
You what, pal?
Did you think we were going to win the Champions League? I didn't. I thought we'd get through. Yeah. I didn't think we'd win. Not yet. But I just think in the league now we've got a great chance.
Yeah, I think because of the start we had, and we're in the group of death, and then we beat the other top 2 teams, and we get 6 points. At that point, you think it's almost a foregone conclusion you're going to go through. And I think you're right. I don't think we're going to win the whole thing, but getting through to the next phase, I thought we should have done.
Yeah. Sorry, Ben.
Yeah. No, it's all right. I was just saying I agree with Danny that, even in Sir Alex Ferguson's era, no Man United team has been on a run away from home that Ollie's taking this team on, and it hardly even gets a mention. You always just feel as though the press are waiting for something to go wrong, and then all of a sudden, Ollie's job explodes. Whereas we've been on an incredible run that has stretched back to however far away from home, and it doesn't get said. And I agree with Wes as well. I didn't think probably at this stage we were going to go all the way in the Champions League, which is why I feel, and again, agree with Danny from what he said in his earlier comments, that I think this is another string to our bow, that we have got a real opportunity to go and win a competition. And none of us have got a crystal ball, so we don't know where we're going to be next February, March time. And I think you take it then as to where your priorities lie. And yes, if we are still in with a really good shout of winning the Champions League, then the Premier League, then it'll be a case of how Ollie rotates to be able to, stay in both competitions. But I think as it stands now, I think the Europa League, as well, with a very realistic chance with the way the league's going and finishing in the top 4, I don't think we can discount the Europa League just yet.
We've got quite a big squad, in fairness, as well, and there's lads who aren't getting any game time. So to give lads game time, like to Jesse, who's not played any football, to play boys and give him a bit of a platform to be ready for when their chance comes, I think is always a bonus.
Well, United's next league assignment is at rock bottom Sheffield United. 1 point from their opening 12 games. Minus 16 is their goal difference. The ideal man to speak to is Danny, because I was with Danny at the 3-3 draw just over a year ago at Bramall Lane, and it was like a royal visit. He couldn't go anywhere without people swamping him for pictures, autographs. He's all over the match programme. There's more about him than there is about Chris Wilder. Danny, you got a foot in both camps Thursday?
No, my foot's in this camp, innit? Of course it is. It always is. But you've got, analysing what he did in the first season was different class. The energy, the fight and everything they brought to the Premier League, it shocked a few. But I just don't think, if I'm looking at the recruitment, they've recruited well enough in the summer. And when I say that, I mean going forward as much as anything. They've conceded more goals. They've had Jack O'Connell out, who's a big player for them at centre-half. They conceded more goals than normal. But they're not scoring. I think they might, if I'm right, I think they've scored about 5 goals this season, and it's not anywhere near what they should be doing. And last year they kept the back door locked and were going away and nicking 1-0s and 2-0s and that kind of thing. But if you're letting in so many goals and you've not got the threat at the top of the pitch, you're going to struggle. And last year they had the likes of Billy Sharp and McBurney, and Billy's getting older now. McBurney's not as consistent in the Premier League as he was in the Championship. Lis Mousset has not really played, who was probably their surprise package last year. So, I just struggle to see where they're going to get the goals from. I really do.
Ben, you were on a train in Kazakhstan, I think, when we played 3-3. We played with Sheffield United, it was 3-3 last time. But if you look at our away record and their record overall this year, you can't see any other result in the United win, can you? Or is that just not the Premier League?
Yeah, I mean, that was, Maisie was with me as well when we watched that game, and it was incredible. And you just felt as though when United got their noses in front, they weren't going to relinquish the lead. But as Danny said, that showed what a surprise package Sheffield United were last season, and they did have that resilience that they just don't seem to have this season at all. And you do get the feeling that as much as after United going out the Champions League, Manchester City was probably one of the last games you would have wanted, then to be able to get 3 points on the board with our away form and with the form that Sheffield United are showing, then this is the perfect game for us to be able, as long as we keep our concentration and there's no complacency setting in terms of where the differs are in the league, then it should be 3 points going into what is going to be a really, really tough game against another surprise package from Yorkshire in Leeds next Sunday.
Yeah, looking forward to that Thursday night. Just another couple of things to look at in the Premier League over this weekend, lads, as well. Arsenal are the gift that keep on giving, aren't they? I mean, amazingly, they won at Old Trafford, but what do you make of Arsenal and where they are and what's happening to them?
They're in free fall, aren't they? Just can't get a win. When it's like that, you've just got to rely on those players around you. I mean, Xhaka getting sent off last night, possibility of another lad getting sent off as well. You know, it's going to be tough for him. It's going to be really tough for him. And as we touched on earlier, I'm sure the knives will be out shortly, getting sharpened for him to get the sack. But listen, as long as that doesn't affect us, I'm not bothered.
Weird weekend. It was Arsenal, Liverpool didn't win, Chelsea didn't win, Tottenham didn't win. Obviously, we didn't win, City didn't win. It's extraordinary. I mean, it is. I spoke to David De Gea after the game, and he said it is a weird league, and we are in the title race. Is this the season, the first season maybe since Sir Alex Ferguson, that we can actually really go close to winning the league, in particular because of all the crazy circumstances of this campaign?
100%. 100%, Stu. It's there for anybody to take it. But what we have to do is get our consistency, winning games, going away. We've got an unbelievable away record, as we all know. And if we can turn that into our home form as well, then there's no reason, Stu, why we can't be flying up that league. And, you know, as we say, come February, March, you know, we're chomping at the bit to get the 21st title, because anybody can win it, really can.
Where's his chomping at the bit with his sandwich? What else have you got?
I've still got a half left and waiting because Maisie keeps laughing at me.
Where's are we in the title race? Can we do it this year?
Yeah, like Maisie said, you know, the away form's unbelievable. So if we can turn, you know, our home form into that, and it is a lot to do with crowds as well, like the lads have said. We're in with a chance. We're looking at the leagues now. Everyone, there's not a weekend where I go, they can't beat them this weekend, or they can't win, or they can get something. So it is a little bit different this season. And, you know, if the lads can focus now and keep that nice, especially away from home, going, then I'm sure, you know, in the next 10 games, or especially after December, if we're still there or thereabouts, we've got a great chance. Yeah.
Finally today, something we must mention, because sometimes news comes through and it does shock you a little bit, and the news came through earlier today about the death of the former Liverpool manager Gerard Houllier at the age of 73, and the football world has come together to express their condolences to his family. Lads, I mean, he was a Liverpool manager, I think was respected by pretty much everybody, and you look at his record, particularly at Anfield, it's pretty good, isn't it, Ben?
Yeah, it's obviously very sad when, you know, the football fraternity will come together, because he's a celebrated manager that, you know, managed the French national team, PSG. Obviously, we know about his time in the Premier League with Liverpool and Lyon as well. So, you know, he has managed at the very, very top level. And I think as far as we can make out, you know, over the period of time that he's been out of football, he has suffered with heart problems. But yeah, it is a really sad day, and I know that a lot of the Liverpool players from, you know, that era when we were all playing had the utmost of respect for him as a man and as a manager.
I guess Wes, Maisie, you would have faced his Liverpool in those days.
Yeah, of course. You know, just touching what Ben said. You know, I was lucky enough to meet him a couple of times, and he was an absolute gentleman. And it is so sad. You know, 2020 has been an absolute horrible year. You know, so many people, you know, good people dying, and Gerard Houllier is absolutely one of those, an absolute gentleman. And, you know, I know United have sent messages out there, sending the condolences to the family, and rightly so. He was an absolute gentleman.
All right, lads. Well, listen, thank you for that. We're going to be back every week, hopefully, on a Monday to, as I say, reflect on what has happened and look ahead as well. We'd love you to get involved. It's probably best if you make some comments below the line on YouTube. You might even have some suggestions for what the lads can do. You remember on the original hardcore lockdown where we had challenges, we had Mr. Motivator, we had bakings, we had all bake-offs and all sorts of things. If you want to do if you want to suggest any of those things, then do. Probably best if you do it below the line. On YouTube, because I say we'll be here every week. Lads, good to see you all. Good to be back together again, and hopefully we'll see you again next week. Yeah, take care.
Good to see you.
See you, boys.
See you later, lads.